Afternoon. I just want to show you what I've been up to with the app that I was working on to do with the terminal program, which is iTerm 2. I did show you in a video the program which I was showing before, which this one is how iTerm 2 created this thing here. It's like a replacement for the Mac terminal that you get with standard. Thing is that this is actually a very good system for developing applications, which is retro in its essence, because it's based on the terminal, which is from the times that the Commodore 64 and the BBC and all that came about. Anyway, they had color at about the same time. They came a little bit before. The difference being is that the Mac OS is Unix, whereas the ZX Spectrum and the BBC Micro, no disrespect, but they're just simple little Microsoft Basic and BBC Basic. It's just the richness of the operating system that you get with it, and you really get to learn a lot of things. And this is my app anyway. I've got the database manager to work, so it's actually loading up stuff. So just press return. That's basically on the top of it. You've got all the screen menus, everything. The 9 is the manager, which you can see there, and then that takes you to like the file management part. Where if I load that, I've got my Manic Miner database, which is like a copy, kind of trying to be Manic Miner. At the moment, right, I've got a man there, so you can see this is my one canvas, this is another canvas, it's another canvas, or frame sets as they're called in the app. And then you can navigate through them. If you press return, then it will load it. For example, if I wanted to have another frame, I just go new canvas and I add another frame, and I can easily move about them. I can label them, walk to, return, and it will remember it. So, and then with this editor, I can set down, change the background to 6. You see how easy I'm making it? Foreground to, so the background to foreground ink. It's that easy to use. It's easy to create stuff with the HJKL keys. I can move that cursor around the screen there, so that just picks what character I'm drawing on there. And with the QWE, I move the actual selection cursor. With O, I put the cursor down so it draws something. With P, it comes back up. But there's even more to it than that. Really, I've got a quad mode as well. So if I want to say I want to draw individual little quad pixels, it works in a similar sort of way. So you've got like ZX81 kind of graphics. I can still change the background color, the foreground color. That I can't remember. No, you can't change the background color with this one because it's supposed to be like graphics, but you can't. You've got a color wash mode. So if I get out of that for a second, background 6, I'll put color wash on. That will kind of wash like the attributes of that with that color, so it lets you kind of get around it. So you can do a fair bit of stuff. I can resize this. Let's say I want to have it. Let's say I want a canvas of 12 by 12. It's just resized everything. So it's that flexible, easy to use. Let's say I want to move this around a bit. I can just re-scroll like that. So it's got that kind of thing where it's easy to use, and I've sorted out the bugs with it. I think copy and paste works. Copy to paste. Oh, it worked. I just did it wrong. Alright, fair enough. So let's say I wanted to copy that. Paste that on there. Yeah, it works. Right, let's go to one I made earlier. So yeah, and I can rename the phrase there. So or I can just take this name off if I don't want the name. So let's say I just put a blank one and I'll just take the thing off. What else can I show you? Nothing revolutionary. This mode is sprite, right? So the difference is this is still a frame set, but the frame set that's a sprite mode can have multiple canvases. So now I'm going to take you on what does it mean to not have multiple canvases. It's this thing here. This is a sprite. Man's a sprite. So I can add as many canvases as I want, because the idea is I have frames of animation, and then I can select between them to get like an animated man kind of thing. but these are levels, so they're not multiple from the only one, and it has links. So in this case, it's showing me entry cavern has a link to the right, which is to welcome, which points to there. So it's kind of linked like a map. Let me select that one. Entry cavern, nice animation there. It works similar, but there's some options not missing, like the copy and paste doesn't work, but you can still resize it. You can still resize it. You can still go over width by 60. So you can resize it. It doesn't quite make sense sometimes, but there's the limit on how much you can resize it to. So I don't have that ready. So let's just reload it. Successful entry cavern. Yeah, I'll briefly show you how these connections work. So I've got, I hope this works. It works all right. I'm gonna try this one. Connect. Yeah, it's working, right? So from here, I set up where I want connections, right? So here you can see you've got a connection to the right, and there's also these connections which are portals, which is some other thing, which are to do with like when you find in the portal there's like a gate that you go through, and that will allow you to set up a name portal 1. You can mark up a portal as 1 and portal as 2, and then this is where that information about where that's supposed to go to is stored in this bit. And it tells you there the entry cavern. This is the entry cavern, and these are really great options. So I've added open and create new levels. So from within here you can actually just straight out create a new level, and I can just go to that level as well from here. Save me actually messing around with it. But within here, which is, you know, means I don't have to come out onto the manager, and you can change the size of the brush to a fairly large brush. Let's put a bit of, let's put a bit of like something here, foreground to, I don't know what that is, but right, let's put something like that. But you know, it's not very good there because it'll block my man from traveling through. You'll see in this minute. Let me just show you how this one works. So what I can do, I'm skipping through here. I'm going to mark that area as pass through. So this area, I can tell the system the man can walk through it if he wants, right? So same way, this is the markup mode. I can define what the different parts of the map mean. Yeah. So all of that means I can pass through that area. So even though it's got some data in there, also that there is pass throughs. These posts are pass through, so my man can walk through that bit. So I mean, all these, everything that is actually solid has something character on it that's not space. This means you can't pass through it, and you'll be able to use this data to create your game. Because basically, I don't know if you saw, but when I opened it, it shows me entry cavern. There are some panels, but you can't see all of the canvas. So the panels disappear when you go near them. For example, they disappear so you can get to it. But then you need to look at the panels again. So it's got this kind of like user interface thing, which I copied from some art programs, which makes the panels kind of appear and disappear as you need them. Like for example, I need to know how do I get to the connection panel here. The hook up 0, press the 0 key, and that hooks me up to the other things that this level is connected to. So press that one. The same thing as what I had in the manager. It tells me that to the right is the welcome level. So let me now demonstrate how this works. As you move through this thing, these are blanks, they've got nothing. If I go say like go to there, then it will show there's an error. There's no level because there's no data next to that thing. So it tries to find the level by that name, nothing, and there isn't one. So makes sense, doesn't it? If I go there, lo and behold, I'd be liking this. Spent ages labouring on it, but the idea is you're going to be able to benefit from it. It's not just for me. This isn't just my sad little life. This is going to be for someone else to actually take over and do their levels with it. You know, in the same way as the poor, the illustrator, or graphical adventure creator. It's going to be that kind of inspired thing, but with terminal as the root rather than like an 8-bit operating system. Let me see the connections from here. So left, you've got cavern, entry cavern again. If I go there, then it will just go back to that first one. Entry cavern. Right. What do you want it to be linked on? It shows me I want to go to welcome, right? Entry come and then welcome on the right. So now my right becomes that one. So I go to level, and that's the same as I had before. So whenever the thing goes off to the right, it's encoded as it goes to this level in the data. And likewise, I've got another one below this one as well. If I press 0 key, bottom undercurrent, it's just something I did. So go to that level. This is the undercurrent, right? So it's looking a bit like Jet Set Willy already, isn't it? Top, go to that one, back up there. Now if I go back to my manager, entry current, and I do test, it asks me choose an avatar, escape maybe not, you don't want to test it. But whatever was a sprite you can choose from here. This is the idea. I've only got one at the moment. And I'm going to add more to this so it can be, you know, much more than just like a little man. But for now, this is just working, so I'm happy that it's just working. Here's my man, right? And he's the action hero in this game. You can't go through that, as I explained, but you will be able to go through that because I've marked it up as pass through. So similar. That's it. Literally, just stops you where you can't. Where it thinks you can't go. I haven't got any jump or anything fancy like that, but you know, you can see the ideas coming along. I've only just got it so you can move through it so far. I mean, this is what it makes possible. You know, this is Objective-C in action. You know, it really is quite good. I think that's a bit offset somewhere still. I've got something a bit wrong there somewhere. Oh, it just literally did that, but I think the alignment isn't quite right, is it? Yeah, when it opens, this is a bit different, isn't it? Something isn't quite set up the same way on both things, is it? Right. It's not damaging any of it, it's just kind of drawing it. When it scrolls it draws it differently to when it finishes drawing it, to when it finally set up to the final thing. And that's got a markup area there, so you can see you can pass through that trunk, but you can't pass through the tree. So there's meanings that I'm attaching to it, and likewise the portal would be one of those meanings you can mark up, and then the link up, you'd use the linker to the link panel to tell you to tell the system where the data is stored, what it should link to, so you'll be able to hopefully query that and stuff like, you know. Let's go down to this one. Oh, it's definitely coming out a bit weird, isn't it? But yeah, I think that's actually the bottom of it, but it's kind of drawn one higher than it should have done. You know. Hope you like it anyway. Hope you're liking it. Let's have a look. So far not much of a big world he's got, is it? I don't think there's any more here. No, let's just exit testing. I have got this level. I did this one. Yeah. I think the idea was I was going to link this one to that comment. So let's do that here while I'm now. 0. Let's link that on the left hand side to I think it was the undercurrent, right? So undercurrent. And from here I can do go to as well. But this one does work properly, because I had to kind of spend a bit more time doing it. So that one works spot on. So I can again bring up the linker panel, top, right, like a DSS people, go to. I hope you're getting the kind of flavour of like traditional MS-DOS and CGA graphics, and this is on a Mac OS, you know. And in testing now, recruitment manager. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go through the whole thing again. And the way this all works is very interesting. It's done with cursors. And the cursors is something that's very overlooked, because, you know, all it's doing is really sending character to a terminal and using its cursor manipulation ability, because they're old-fashioned. They just had cursor movement ability, and they had the ability to print lines of print characters on wherever the cursor was. But the cursors thing kind of makes it more like, you know, you can generically mess about and do all kinds of things with it, like an old-fashioned 8-bit micro would be able to. It's not very latest, but it lets you use wide character graphics and Unicode Oh shit, that's bad, because I've actually got myself stuck there. I've grounded myself in that block. Right, so again, the testing has to reveal that there's a fault with the level. So there we go. Obviously, you can add more from here, can't you? I've shown you that. You can add more characters. Could add another character, just a new frame set, yeah, new frame set, sprite, monster, call that one monster. So now I've got like a general, let's put like a little bug-eyed monster just to give you an idea. Don't know if you remember Commander Keen from the old classic DOS days. That really inspired me, Commander Keen from ID Software. I just wondered how they created those worlds. How did they create games that were so kind of interesting to go in? But they must have had something like, you know, pretty interesting programs to create it on, I would have thought. Background 7. To put a space, by the way, you just get to the end of each line and then use that as the character. The way this works as well is very similar to just the character insert. So you've got pen down, you know. Something's a bit weird there. Pen up, pen down. I haven't tested it fully. It works pretty well. The bright mode's been left on that character cell. Anyway, you've got like some kind of a monster. So now when I test, I should be able to select that monster. No? Right, let me try the other way. Yeah, it's still the other way. I had this problem before as well. You have to go up when it's actually further down. I don't know how that will work. But anyway, man, monster. So here I'm using the avatar to test it with. Same thing basically. Anyway, I hope it gives you some kind of an idea. So I can just quit like that. Show you roughly what kind of files are produced by it. That minor kilo is half a megabyte, 403k, that database. So this, I've just used it like in quick mode, the VTPainter. I'm going to have it so it's not showing you, it's not restricting the amount of helps it gives you. So here you get like a tutorial kind of mode, canvas edit mode, so you don't have to learn everything from cold. So if I press a key like I shouldn't press, for example, I'll press that, which is changed to markup, because you can't mark up territory as you can a level. So level markup is only if you're editing levels. It's not when you're editing sprites. So it tells you can't access level markup if you're editing sprites for levels, things like that. And if you try it again, it will say you've now been told 2 times, just to remind you that you're not actually learning anything at the moment. You're meant to be learning. Not to try to be, you know, bossy, but it's to try to remind you that time is short and you need to be learning things so your boss is improves by your skills. When you go to manager mode, speaking of which, as in manager mode, welcome to manager. Here you have a catalogue of all your current sprites and levels. Manager allows you to create sprites and other modes. There's only one sprite. Why not try to create a level for it to live in? So the level, create a level. So it's a blank level here. Welcome to level mode, featuring paint. Level mode is different from sprite mode. In level mode, and in this was explained about the panels disappearing as well, which is quite good. I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you. You're about to witness the power of dash autofire. Just following the cursor in the canvas is too large. If you're feeling disoriented, don't worry, just hit one. So it makes that disappear. And makes that disappear. From here you can switch to markup mode, which is where you can switch to giving meanings to tiles. Level markup lets you associate meanings to tiles, e.g. deadly and pass-through. Just to give you kind of a brief quad mode there, you know, just to get that to work. It's a bit like drawing graphics, pixel graphics. Like, I don't know if you remember BBC teletext. It had something like this. So does the BBC Micro, the ZX81. And Color Wash does help you with these though, because you can kind of quickly mark up, you know, add colour. Oh yeah, I better show you scroll, yeah, just while we're here. With scroll you can just take anything and just scroll it by every point, and S to get it back. That one, that photo, so scroll. if you want to know what do you actually do to make this stuff, it's not really that hard. I'm going to make it so that you can just use Xcode or whatever, your Vim, and then write your Objective-C code and then use the library as... I'm thinking about other things to do to it so that you might be able to, for example, create an act, like a pattern or a duty and assign duties to certain characters. So like, for example, say I had a monster there, then I'd be able to assign it like a duty for it to do, and it would just go in and out certain levels and carry on doing that, sort of like what you'd see, and then have a bit of intelligence in it. So you could have like an event. This is where I'm trying to get this is what I'm trying to work with, so that I can get it so that your program, when you write and you use it, you could receive the event. For example, the monster has met the player, something like that, and then you could kind of decide what to do with it, things like that. That's where I'm going at, with it. I hope you found that enjoyable, and look forward to any comments. Thanks.